Alrighty, so in this video what I have for you is a MacBook Air from 2017 that I got for only $5. Now I got it for $5 alongside the iPhone SE from a few videos ago, which I got altogether for $20. Now this MacBook was $5 because the shopkeeper threw it in alongside the iPhone SE because I mentioned I was collecting iPhones or so. But yeah, now this computer was that cheap because it came with an out. Now this computer was super cheap because it came untested without a hard drive. So I think it's time I dig into it and install an SSD because this takes nothing else. Cue the montage. Alrighty, so here's the MacBook bag. Now, I replaced the SSD with an mSATA SSD, which these MacBooks are very specific about what kind of SSD you put into it. Turns out with their own like proprietary SSD are all NVMe's instead of SATA. So also another thing was the charger. I had to buy an adapter for my charger from the 2011 MacBook Pro from last video to adapt to this MacBook Air. Now the adapter was not cheap. It cost me 2.5 times more as the computer because it was priced at $9 and was last made in what, 2019? So I thought I kinda got scammed on it. And yeah, now it's, as you can see, it's booting, or at least trying to. Okay, it shows that there is no OS because, well, obviously I just replaced the drive. So now I have to try and get into internet recovery. And now you can see that I do it a bunch of times, and turns out that the problem was the fact I had no installation media and that the SSD was, well, as I said, SATA instead of NVMe, just what I wanted. But I did get macOS Monterey installed. I'm gonna speed through the setup because, well, it's the setup. Alrighty, there we go. Now, the trackpad does not work, so I want to check why it doesn't work. I will guess it's just dead. I will also log into my Apple ID so I can see how this shows up on my iPhone Find My list. There we go, I'm in. Yeah, I will turn off all of these settings that I do not need to have on this computer. Now it appears as my MacBook Air alongside everything else I have. I love seeing how many devices I can get on one Apple ID. I do not know if there's a limit, but I think we will find it out eventually. Yeah, well, everything works. Can I get a different macOS update? No. Could this be just that it's the last one? Well, I will try to install Windows 10 on it because hell yeah, Windows 10 is just the best one for a MacBook. Well, here we are another day later. This was after I realized that power supplies do make a difference. Now, as you can see, I have put Windows 10 on it just as I said, and it turns out that the main issue that this computer had was the power supply. So I used the 2011 MacBook Pro charger that I had with the adapter. These are the specifications of it, and I had to replace it with a multi-plug adapter. I do not know. I think it's called a universal power supply, but yeah, as you can see, I do not know the specifications of it. It's a mystery, but it worked, and the MacBook Air turns on. Also, turns out that, well, I didn't mention, but the battery was also dead, or so I thought, until I changed the power supply, of course, which magically made it charge and boot up. Now, I want to try to get into macOS, but I think that's gonna have to wait. I also got the Magic Mouse working, and I think it's about time I tested out the performance capabilities of Windows on a Mac. Now, first up, I will try BeamNG Drive. Alright, it needs to be connected to an internet. I forgot. Games are not offline anymore, are they? Well, I could have just refused to sync, but I need my data, I think. Alrighty, and as it appears, the game kind of floated. Where is the car? I mean, technically it is there. I just can't see it. It also looks like this is running at... What could this be? 5 FPS? Also, the car appears on everything except the road. You can just see through it. Yeah, I thought it would crash. Well, the game, not the car. But yeah, I thought it would crash if I crashed the car. This is running terribly. Yeah, I think it's best to quit this game so I do not cook this MacBook Air into oblivion because it's getting quite hot already. Next up, I will try Roblox because what else? And for Roblox, I think we should try fighting. If it's gonna work, of course. Let's pick Katana and get into a round. Now, of course, I will be trying maximum graphics and the lowest graphics that are kinda the most playable. Let's put it on maximum. Well, you know what? Compared to BeamNG, I thought this would do terribly too. But no, it just works. Yeah, it's kind of awful. This feels like 15 FPS. I do not know how to judge FPSs, but I mean, it could be playable if you really cared about graphics. Yeah, I will give it a rest. Let's put it down lower. Let's try 2. Or I mean, even on 3 it kind of works. I would say 3 is the highest and lowest you can go if you want quality and performance. But you can never expect too much on a MacBook Air from a few years ago at this point. Alrighty, I think it's time we switch to macOS. Alrighty, now on macOS, I also have gotten Roblox installed. Now, of course, just as with Windows, let's try fighting. And of course, connect to a Wi-Fi first. I keep forgetting. Is it even joining? It is. Nice. Let's see. Let's be Katana again. And just as with Windows, I will be putting it at the highest graphics definition and the lowest playable. Oh, this map. This is a rare map if I recall, which is even better. Now on highest graphics, I would say this runs worse than on Windows. Now it could be the map, but yeah, let's turn it down so I can actually play it. And it's the best on 2. Which compared to Windows and the simplified map it had, yeah, it's best to keep a MacBook Air on macOS. And if you have a MacBook Pro, I would recommend using Windows because macOS just doesn't have a lot of game support and app support. And of course on Windows you can do the piracy thing. Because who's paying for apps nowadays? Come on. We are all poor. We can't do that. But yeah, Roblox runs fine. I think this about wraps it up for this MacBook Air. Now this thing, being for the price of $5, was the best deal I could get. Now, of course, the adapter that I do not use anymore was 9, so it comes out to 14, and then an adapter for my NVMe SSD so I can put it into this proprietary slot was 10. So all in all, this MacBook comes out to 2450, and I will see you all next time when I have another Apple device.